Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Strengthen Facility Management Operations with the Power of Location. My name is Scott Ward, and I'd like to cover some administrative details. You can ask questions through the questions module, and we will answer those at the end. If we run out of time to respond to your question, we will follow up via email. The recording for this webinar will be posted early next week if you'd like to review it in the future. With that, we can get started, and I will hand this off to my colleagues, Thomas, Ethan, and Andy.
Hello, I'm Thomas Warner. I'm with the defense team and in the government sector here at Esri.
Everyone, good morning. Turn my webcam on here for you. My name's Ethan Franklin, and I'm an account executive at Esri on our ArcGIS Indoors team. I'm very happy to be here this morning with all of you. I work with many of our federal customers to help enable them to bring GIS inside their buildings and map floor plans, spaces, and assets.
Hi everyone, my name is Andy Stewart. I'm a solution engineer for the ArcGIS Indoors team. I work a lot with Ethan and Thomas, and I'm here to help you guys all understand what we can do for facility management and increase ROI for your facilities.
Great. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Andy. We'll start with a poll question to kick the webinar off. So we can go ahead and cue that up here, Scott. So we'd like to know if your organization currently is investigating smart facility solutions. What brought you this morning onto this webinar? Is that yes, in this next coming up year? This is December now, so in 2021. Beyond next year, if you think it's something more in the future, not at this time, or if you're not sure. We'll go ahead and give a few moments for everyone to answer that. And Scott, when you're ready, if you'd like to share those results with everyone. Okay, great. That looks great. Gave us some great info. See that we have about half looking to investigate this within the next couple years, as well as about half probably on this webinar today to learn more. I'm not too sure, so that's perfect. Thanks for that, Scott. So to get started, it's important to understand a little background information here. And in 2018, both public and private organizations in the U.S. spent over 1.7 trillion on capital facilities. You know, these are costs to build and construct these facilities, and while they're astronomical costs, actually 80% of facility costs are realized in operations and maintenance. So using GIS for facility management, what we're going to talk about today, has long-lasting and impactful ROI. It's important to understand current challenges with operations and maintenance of real property. You know, how to manage your facilities, the data that you use. And currently, majority of property in the U.S. is managed using CAD, pen and paper, Excel, emails, all those types of disparate project files. We see a lot of those. And let's talk a lot about CAD, because we know that most government facilities, national government facilities, will have at least some version of CAD of the majority of their buildings. But and CAD is typically those DWG or DGN formats that represent as-built data. And they often, we hear, fail to represent current conditions, right? They're not maintained. CAD really is costly to just in general find and organize and share and maintain that data. It's not interoperable with third-party systems for planning and operations, in part because computer-aided drawings lack a back-end database to drive symbology and annotation, or support feature relationships to be able to query and analyze that data. So without that database, they fail to support multi-user editing environments necessary to keep them current, and instead, they require the completion of a capital project to update them. And they're rarely stored in a way that supports, really efficient, secure access, meaning organizations take the cost on of avoiding and mitigating the delay of data sharing through the building life cycle. So that's what brings us together today to talk about using GIS for facility management. Esri's recognized this need and the ability to solve these challenges with ArcGIS and support operations and mobility to make floor aware and just facility assets in general accessible through 2D and 3D web maps, and also through mobile apps that are either indoor location aware or can even just provide a blue dot when you're outside using GPS or indoor positioning systems. So we aim to build a common spatial operating picture to integrate data across the business and integrate business processes and different technologies. Organizations can become 40 to 60% more efficient in planning and operations and maintenance from doing this, and even 15% or more efficient in fulfillment of occupant issues and repairs, according to the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So integrating the system of record into operations and maintenance processes inherently will give an up-to-date inventory of facilities to allow for easy assessment of conditions and interaction. So GIS, Geographic Information Systems, are built to solve this problem. We can visualize 2D floor plans in the context of their real-world location and operational data layers from other business systems. So by translating drawings of many floors across many buildings and putting them onto a site plan into a single geodatabase, we can use attribute-driven symbology and spatial analytics to generate derivative information products to use across web and mobile apps. So by delivering this up-to-date, persona-driven views that have identity tied to them of building information, organizations can engage their knowledge workers and other stakeholders in operations, maintenance, management, and planning processes. And before we jump to some use cases, and then we're going to show you a lot of great demonstrations today, this is actually one of my favorite slides to show you today. It's important to understand that by using GIS, right, by using location as a common key, using maps, really as the foundation, we can integrate existing facility, space, asset management, and work order management systems. So this provides new insights and applications that augment and enhance these systems and provide a way to visualize lifecycle management and operational records. These systems can be systems like IBM Maximo and Tririga, ServiceNow, Infor EAM, Archibus, and many more. Regarding IBM specifically, we've actually partnered with IBM, and this is a link you could look up if you'd like to read more. Andy, you're able to see this, right? Just want to make sure everyone can see it.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, great, thanks. We partner with IBM, Tririga specifically, and they partner with us, the global market leader in geographic information systems, to give, combine the power of Tririga's IWMS for real estate facility management with, in this case, Esri's ArcGIS Indoors product to do complete indoor mapping. Just an example of one of those integrations we're working with currently. Next, I'd like to share with you 4 use cases for ArcGIS for facility management. First, and quite critical to good facility management, I think we'd agree, are people that occupy the buildings, right? So ArcGIS can deliver new experiences for building occupants. Employees and even visitors to your facilities aren't frustrated wondering, where they need to be or how to get there, where appointments or meetings are located, or in the case of staff, where actual colleagues are located. Our technology delivers web and mobile applications to enable occupants to easily find these areas and spaces, find their amenities, colleagues, these collaboration spaces, and actually reserve rooms, right? Actually book through applications to reserve for appointments, or we'll also show you other space management tools like hoteling and hot desking. And ArcGIS Indoors, specifically from Esri, can even deliver routing and wayfinding, allowing everyone that interacts with your space to get turn-by-turn directions indoors and outdoors across a campus. These directions can be to individual spaces and offices or actual points of interest like a utility asset, for example. Next, it's very important for facility management as well to use ArcGIS for maintenance management workflows. So whether for planned maintenance, user requests, or mapping repairs, right, to see where those are that help keep facilities safe and functional and productive. This could also be about crowdsourcing information about your space from those occupants by enabling them with smart apps to report incidents or request services to specific locations. And that in turn, excuse me, that in turn provides a big picture using dashboards, and a screenshot of that's here, on maintenance, repairs, and requests across your entire property portfolio. So this is where some of the integrations I already mentioned become very important, right? ArcGIS can augment and enhance work order systems that you already use, like Maximo, Tririga, or ServiceNow, to let occupants submit service requests that show up on a live map of those work orders across your facility. So this provides a dynamic insight into the location of incidents, requests, and maintenance that can improve planning and execution of that maintenance. Also, whether space moves or strategic expansions or consolidations, using ArcGIS for space management is very beneficial. Maybe it's tactical support for specific projects. For example, those require space plans. Space plans can be generated through ArcGIS and help minimize costs of moves and communicate with necessary stakeholders, and then be able to properly actually sequence events that need to transpire. ArcGIS Indoors, again, specifically from Esri, can maintain an up-to-date visual inventory of space allocation and utilization to plan and evaluate scenarios that help organizations save time and money when executing a space move. Indoors offers integration with those indoor positioning systems I mentioned in the beginning to provide maps of real-time space utilization patterns and the ability to log this data for historical analysis. So organizations can visualize their space allocation, either live or historic utilization rates, and then use that data to make better data-driven decisions about their buildings. And lastly, leveraging indoor floor plans to enhance safety and security operations. Users of ArcGIS can aggregate data from multiple sources, whether it's through the real-time location of security agents on a map, routing to the nearest one, or routing them to an incident that's closest to them to increase response time. Or maybe it's integrating CCTV camera feeds into your indoors map, so you can get eyes on a location as fast as possible, or even maybe performing viewshed analysis to determine line of sight. Combining different data sources and leveraging maps as a foundation to increase situational awareness for safety purposes can be very impactful. So now we'll go to our second poll. Scott, if you'd like to bring that up. We'd like to know of which of these solutions we talked about, these four, do you think might be the highest priority for your organization? So go ahead and select all that apply. We have occupant experience tools, maintenance management tools, space management tools, or those site safety tools. Okay, perfect. Thanks everyone for that feedback. Before we jump into demos next and actually show you all some of these applications today, let's take a quick minute to think about a new challenge for facility managers, right? How to respond in light of this COVID-19 pandemic. So many organizations are designating a task force to plan for how to safely reopen their facilities and come up with new operational protocols, new space plans, new maximum capacities for the buildings, right? And really in general, new employee guidelines. In the US, we've been working with federal, state governments, and even local governments to install ArcGIS as a platform to visualize, analyze, and share these new plans to ensure the health and safety of mission critical employees. So these are operational support tools you see here, like dashboards of requested sanitation work orders, right? And giving building occupants ways to submit those cleaning and sanitation requests and see where they are on an indoor floor plan map. Also tools for space planning to deliver the ability to actually calculate 6-foot buffers around seating or locations in the office to ensure social distancing is maintained. Or maybe this is to designate areas as hoteling or hot desking spaces to enable flexible return to work. And we'll actually show you that in a moment. So this could be Managing capacity as well of your facilities with smart integrations that allow you to view the live location of people inside the building, and delivering occupant engagement tools specifically to make staff feel safer, like helping them find their closest wellness station for a temperature check, or maybe their closest hand washing station. We know this can be a time-sensitive solution, so before we move to show you actually how this works and show you some demos to cover that applies to the things we've talked about, let's do one more poll. If we can respond to this next poll question here, let us know if you'd like to participate in an exclusive executive briefing on all of these facility management solutions, so we can learn what's most important to you. So if you'd like to learn more, please mark yes, and I'll be in contact with you, and we can learn if it's the COVID recovery solutions that you'd like to learn more about, or one of the other aspects. And also after the demos, at the end of the webinar, I also have a great checklist I'll be able to leave with you all to have after the webinar today. If we can take a moment and fill this out, we'll be happy to reach out to those that mark yes. Okay.
Thanks, Nathan. All facility managers have a spreadsheet that acts as a data of record. It most likely encompasses a wide range of facility data, from the building to a water valve in the CO's bathroom. As you can imagine, this data is very data rich. It's so data rich, in fact, it can cause a new issue. How do we empower leadership to act on that data to answer common questions like, what are the top 10 mission critical buildings that need a new roof? Well, the answer is web apps. Now, you're probably used to seeing reports that are spreadsheets or static PDFs or even slide decks, but those sources are incredibly limiting. Instead, we can now provide an interactive report in the form of a web app, like this one right here. Here we're using a newer web app called ArcGIS Experience Builder, showing simulated installation data. This app is providing some very high-level key performance indicators, KPIs, that our leadership would be interested in. We see some facts and figures about the replacement costs and facility square footage up top. Moving down to the left, we have an interactive web map denoting overall facility condition. Zooming in, this web map is utilizing arcade expressions to match our color scheme with each individual building metric. Green being good, amber being cautious, and red being an issue. Furthermore, the card to the right highlights metrics including the average facility condition in green to match our map legend, as well as our average age and replacement costs. And with Experience Builder, there's no more need to run back to the office to get those figures that you need, because it actively adapts to the device that you're viewing it on. Now, this web app could easily be static statistics, but there's a little bit more behind these metrics than meets the eye. Under the hood, Experience Builder can read our geospatial data dynamically, so our building metrics can stay alive as data is edited, keeping our command informed. We can even dig deeper into specific key building components like the roof data as seen when I hover over the card. As we click the card, we are directed to a new page with even more details. With ArcGIS Experience Builder, we can design an interactive web experience that our leadership can use to make decisions without being a geospatial analyst. Now let's explore 3 applications that can help our command take a deeper dive into the Fort Rollins roof data and ultimately help leadership make educated decisions. For example, aiding in the ability to monitor our key performance indicators at our simulated Fort Rollins installation, we have configured an interactive roof reports application using ArcGIS Insights. Within, several widgets display a range of facility roof data filtered from our schema. In our overview page, which you see here, we can select the facility type widget to isolate the office KPI, noting that all the widgets, replacement cost, occupancy, average roof age, update. The same can be done with our warranty and facility division widget. The condition and warranty page delivers the same interactivity while delving deeper into the roofing data and housing replacement cost. Selecting No on the warranty widget, we notice by the deeper purple that these facilities have been heavily inspected in recent years. We can see by the green bar that our housing represents a sizable portion of this group, and that in our similarly color-coded scatter plot, most of these roofs are 25 to 30 years old. By filtering back in our warranty widget by building type, and by roof age, we can drill down to specific areas of need and discover a replacement cost of almost 1.4 million. This will be good to note for our next fiscal year. ArcGIS Insights gives us a high-level view and detailed understanding of our KPI for that day-to-day monitoring of our facility data. What happens when some of the end-of-the-year funds come in, though? What's the first thing that we can do? Well, we could send out an all-departmental memo asking for specific data, but that's time-consuming, and these funds could be depleted by others if we delay. Enabling proactive planning, Esri technology can circumvent having others search for the data and report back. Using data-driven tools that are web-enabled, our leadership can quickly explore options, creating insightful decisions and efficient collaboration. Powered by ArcGIS dashboards, the Scenario Planner application enables us to use facility data to receive proactive planning possibilities. Now let's take a look at what happens when Fort Rollins receives a $400,000 injection into its annual facilities budget as we focus our efforts to get the greatest return of investment. Within the dashboard, we have several ways to focus our planning opportunities. Setting the mission dependency index to 70 permits us to focus on our operational critical facilities. Adjusting a few other parameters, as well as adding our funding amount of $400,000. We can isolate 10 critical facilities with a replacement cost within budget that impact over 577 personnel. And that's all within headquarters operations. The Scenario Planner and ArcGIS dashboard displays valuable information using simple tools that create time-saving solutions for your planning and budgeting needs. With a plan in place, we can move forward outputting the key facilities to our read-only Top Roof Priorities List app. This allows us to share planned facilities and all the relative information with our stakeholders. With Esri technology, we can monitor our current conditions and proactively plan scenarios using web-based data-driven tools that are easily shared, promoting efficient and impactful solutions with and among our key personnel. Now here's Andy Stewart to show how Esri technology can assist facility personnel and organizational staff with their day-to-day needs.
Thanks, Thomas, for demonstrating how to enrich facility data with web-based metrics. In this next demonstration, I will show workflows that will help save time and resources across organizational staff, visitors, and visiting staff by making incremental improvements in day-to-day employee experiences and facility management and operations. What I'll cover in the next couple of minutes includes understanding how floor plans are accessible in easy-to-use web and mobile applications, quickly understanding how we can route from building rooms to other building rooms, efficiently utilizing floor plans as a way to launch work orders, and having the ability to use and leverage IBM Maximo IBM Tririga, ServiceNow, CityWorks, Infor, and other third-party management systems to push work order locations to your facility maps, and a common operational view for everything going on across your facilities. As I understand, employees and visitors currently need a way to explore a single pane of glass for their respective facilities. Through a simple automated process, we took CAD floor plan data, which could have also been Revit floor plan data, to seamlessly configure them into the ArcGIS Indoors web and mobile applications. What you currently see on your screen is the ArcGIS Indoors web application. The ArcGIS Indoors web application is where day-to-day employees and maintenance staff will clearly see what is going on for their respective facilities. In the app, we can see the building floor plans and the building footprints for Esri's Redlands main campus. If we select buildings, such as Building Q, it will open the floor plan information regarding that specific facility. Since it is floor aware, we can select different floors of Building Q to better understand the space we are looking at. We can also look at the right pane to get more information in regards to the facility and a particular unit that we're looking at. Additionally, we can use the facility selector to find another building we need to pan to. Particularly, I'm panning to Building M. If you want to search for a particular room, asset, person, work order, or point of interest, we could use our Explore panel as a catalog for indoors and outdoors campus-related information. And I can use the Smart Search functionality at the top if we already know the point of interest we're searching for. Here I'm searching for the office of my colleague James Manning's desk. James Manning is a close co-worker of mine who currently sits on the second floor of Building M. Since I'm currently talking to James at his desk, I'm going to save his location as a favorite in my places. I realize that I have to attend a meeting over in one of Building Q's conference rooms. I'm leveraging my computer's calendar in Office 365 calendar system to quickly have locations of meetings by going to my Events button. I can use the Directions button to find how I'm going to go from James Manning's desk to that meeting room. As you can see, James Manning is a saved location and auto-populates in the search field. On the fly, routable directions are populated in the pane. You'll notice that I'm taking the stairs. I can also have my transitions to take me through the elevator. You will notice a solid and dotted route. The solid route represents the floor that I'm currently taking, and the dotted route represents the floor I'm not looking at in my directions pane. Once I've reached my final destination, I'm going to scroll up to the top and show where the auditory button is. The auditory button will be played for those individuals that cannot look at the directions but can listen to it. We can also look at the distance traveled and the time it would take to get to that final destination. Another important capability is having 3D facility maps. Say I'm an employee that finds 3D situational awareness helpful, I can easily look at routes inside and outside the buildings. We can also gather more perspective on where facility equipment, assets, points of interest, utility networks, and building units are throughout the campus. The information can support large facility operations to ensure space and assets are on record. It also increases organizational transparency in regards to knowing where, how, and what features need to be kept up to date for inspection and maintenance. In addition, we can look at and plan for evacuation routes and exits. By having data in our indoor floorware maps, employees, visitors, and management can understand, interpret, and execute on how and where to leave the facility. Say we wanted to analyze how James Manning would exit the building in case of an emergency. We can easily turn on and have our egress data layers to understand and interpret the best path for him to take to leave the facility. Returning to the conference room where the meeting is being hosted, I noticed a problematic issue involving sanitation. Particularly when I went into the Events tab, I noticed that the amount of bookings for this conference room was overutilized over these past couple of days. Therefore, I'm demonstrating how an employee can launch a work order request for cleaning by using either IBM Maximo, Tririga, ServiceNow, and/or CityWorks to create that request. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and launch a work order survey. In the survey, I'm going to fill out the necessary fields to ensure that maintenance management properly take care of this issue. I can also add more context by adding a picture of the ongoing problem. Once the work order request is submitted, maintenance management can push the request and have it come through in the ArcGIS Indoors web application. By turning on the work orders, maintenance management can visualize any created work order requests. Particularly, I can look at the room cleaning request I just created. Another way to look at work orders is by going into the Explore panel, where you can catalog work orders by issue type, date submitted, priority, and status. If we need to analyze historical and recently created work orders for particular rooms, we can have them managed in related items to be able to quickly look at for repeated problems. Seeing that there has only ever been one request for room sanitation in this particular room, the operations manager can quickly share the work order location by clicking the share button. Here, he or she can quickly ensure that a cleaning custodian is notified and helps by resolving the issue. The work order request email can be set up programmatically by an organization's notification center. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and notify myself acting as the cleaning custodian for this issue. And in my next demonstration, I will show how the cleaning custodian receives the email notification and how to easily wayfind and resolve that problem. As the mobile notification for the work order comes through, the custodian can quickly access the work order's location in the ArcGIS Indoors maps. As the custodian opens the link to the location, he'll have the choice of opening the map in the mobile application or in the Web Maps Safari browser. Being that I'm a technician that already has the application downloaded to my cell phone, I will continue to demonstrate the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application. Say I'm a technician who is not done a current job site. I have the ability to save work orders location to my places, where I can have access to where it is on the map for future reference. Additionally, I can programmatically have my cell phone's calendar sync with my work order location. This method can be applied to Office 365 calendars and mobile device calendars to be ingested into the app itself. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to route from that work order location from an entry point over in Building M. I'm currently over in Building M at that entry point. I want to be able to look at the directions so I can click on each segment of the route to understand how I'm going to get to that conference room. Once I've reached the final destination of the conference room, I'll go ahead and select that work order. One thing to note is that if I was on site currently, you would see a blue dot represent my current location. And that would be leveraging IPS technology such as Bluetooth and Wi-Fi surveyed beacons throughout your entire building. So now that I have the work order brought up on the map, I'm going to go ahead and click that More button. What this is going to allow me to do is update the work order status from assigned to completed. So now I'm going to ensure that I go down to the status of the work order and I click completed, and I also go to the issue title and I type out completed also. This is going to allow my supervisor to have a better understanding that I've actually completed the work order and that they can go into their mobile application or web application and see that the work order is completed on the map. Also, the custodian has the ability to take an image of the work that they've done to show that it is completed. Once the work order has been submitted by the custodian, supervisor, and or the employee that submitted the work order can go back into the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application and view the status of the work order as completed. Now, looking at the title of the work order and the status of the work order, we can see it as completed. In this next demonstration, I'm going to show an ArcGIS Indoors operations dashboard with KPIs and real-time information for work orders across facilities. What you now see on your screen is the ArcGIS Indoors operations dashboard for work orders. This dashboard provides executives a common operating picture for all work order groups and provides managers the ability to understand what is going on for their respective departments to make more informed decisions. Here, we can quickly glance at the buildings and their floor plan models. Additionally, we've added work orders to the map to better understand where incidents have occurred. If we wanted to search and filter for a specific building or floor, we can do so with the facility selector and the vertical order selector. Looking at building Q, we can use the right pane and toggle for that building's work orders to visualize important details. Specifically, we can see the completed work order that the cleaning custodian worked on. We can also come over to the list in the left pane to look at that completed work order. Additionally, we can manage ongoing work orders by looking at the above list for open work orders. The ArcGIS Indoors operations dashboard for work orders can also be helpful in deriving important analysis. Here, we can click on the various tabs below the map to understand campus operations more thoroughly. The first graph helps to understand the number of work orders by their status to leverage communication between staff. We can also look at the number of work orders by their priority to understand which incidents should be fixed right away. We can also leverage a bar graph for the number of work orders for a given due date to manage and ensure they are completed. And finally, we can visualize the number of work orders submitted that day to analyze high volumes for a given day of the week. From using this dashboard, executives and managers can quickly understand, collaborate, and report on work orders at their facilities. To conclude my demonstration, you were able to see the massive improvements I made in day-to-day workflows for employees, technicians, managers, visitors, and even high-level executives. Now, I will pass it off to Thomas to show the site safety solution, which will empower organizations to solve COVID-19 facility-related issues.
Thanks, Andy. The coronavirus site safety deployment is a series of Esri web and mobile apps that we can customize to our facility needs. The manager is our starting point, where we can designate the area where we'll stage our plan and notate which phase we are in. Later, when our plan is active, we can use it to monitor any issues that may arise. Next, we have our editor, where we can customize our site safety plan by adding health points of interest, ingress and egress routes, as well as crowd and health safety areas, where we can monitor capacity in order to ensure proper distancing. We also added our indoors data to the map, giving personnel a clearer perspective and a sense of space. This map comes in a read-only version that can be shared with personnel and the public. There's an integrated dashboard and quick capture app that assists in the monitoring of our crowd areas. And finally, a dashboard that also comes in a mobile version. Here we can monitor cleaning and restocking of our health points of interest, monitor our crowd capacity, as well as reports that come in from our personnel concerning issues that arise, their importance, and their current status. With a coronavirus site safety solution, we can customize and deploy a thoughtful plan, as well as monitor our staff's needs, ensuring good communication among key personnel and the health of our organization. And now I'll give it back to Andy to demonstrate how to ensure proper distancing within the workplace.
Thanks, Thomas, for showing the site safety solution. In this next demonstration, I'm going to show how ArcGIS Indoors can help your organization follow social distancing guidelines and provide a safe workplace environment. In this demo, I'll walk through how you can visualize social distancing analysis on an indoors map, develop spatial plans that meet social distancing requirements, and allow employees to reserve safe workspaces when they come back to work. We'll start by looking at the ArcGIS Indoors Web Viewer application. This application allows you to visualize data for your facilities on indoor floor plan maps. These maps give you a central system of record of your facilities. By selecting a specific building, I can get an interior view of the floor plan. I can toggle between floors and see every office and cubicle in the building. The indoor viewer can also incorporate other types of data. For example, we can use spatial analysis tools in ArcGIS Pro provided with ArcGIS Indoors to analyze social distancing parameters and then visualize them in the ArcGIS Indoors web viewer. Here we've generated a 6-foot buffer around the open cubicles in the marketing wing, shown in blue. This represents the minimum social distancing zone needed for employees to safely occupy each cubicle. We've also highlighted the areas where those zones overlap, shown in red. This lets us understand which cubicles have social distancing conflicts. Using the results from the social distancing analysis, we can make decisions about how to reassign employees to make sure everyone has a safe workspace. To ensure the safety of employees, we'll use Indoor Space Planner, a web application that lets you use indoor maps and data to visualize and manage space use throughout your facilities. Like the indoor viewer, I can bring the results of my spatial analysis into Space Planner to help develop space plans that support social distancing. By highlighting the area above these cubicle clusters, I can see that I have a number of employees assigned to spaces with social distancing conflicts. I want to reassign these employees to meet safety guidelines. I'll start by unassigning those individuals from their cubicles. I then can start to quickly reassign employees to make sure there's only one person per cubicle cluster. I can do this by dragging and dropping their names onto the desired cubicles in the map. Now, I will have a space plan that will allow these employees to maintain physical distance from their colleagues. In some cases, social distancing guidelines may require us to operate at less than our typical maximum workspace capacity. One way we can accommodate this is by setting aside safe workspaces and cubicles as office hotels that employees can come in and reserve on days they need to be in the office. Next week, all of our marketing employees are going to move to a staggered schedule. Many of these employees were assigned to conflicting cubicles, so we'll need to provide them with other workspace arrangements. We'll do this by creating an office hotel area. Now, we can select every cubicle in this wing and assign them all to our marketing office hotel area. Then, to ensure our employees only reserve the safest cubicles, keeping in mind our social distancing analysis data, we can remove conflicting cubicles from the office hotel area. By doing this, we've identified a set number of cubicles that our marketing team can reserve when they come into work. Now, let's take a look at the experience of reserving a workspace in an office hotel. By using the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application, which is available natively on Android and iOS devices, a member of our marketing team can quickly find and reserve an office hotel in 3 simple steps. First, they'll tap the hotel button, where they can specify dates, time, space types, and area. This will provide a list of all available safe workspaces that they can book. The final step is to select a desired office, and then go ahead and book it. The reservation will be confirmed with an email, and they will be ready to come back to work. In 3 steps, they reserved their safe workspace. If need be, they can also reserve a conference room directly from the ArcGIS Indoors mobile application. By quickly locating the conference room that's closest to the marketing office hotel, they can easily book it from the app. The app syncs the appointment with their Outlook calendar, reserving the conference room and notifying all attendees of the meeting. I hope this demonstration was helpful in showing how ArcGIS Indoors can help your organization follow social distancing guidelines and provide a safe workplace environment. Now I'll turn it back to Ethan.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Thomas.
All right, so we had some questions. First, is there going to be a video available for this? Yes, we'll be posting the video early next week, so you'll be able to view that. Our next question, we mentioned some specific systems that integrate with ArcGIS Indoors, and someone asked if they used Archibus, and they wanted to know if that one works as well. Ethan?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we mentioned a few different options there for different systems we integrate with. Archibus, absolutely, right? Archibus has a huge wealth of facility information in it that we have very often leveraged, right? So we just augment and enhance that system. We're able to use that type of data inside of ArcGIS Indoors to deliver those capabilities. But right, Archibus usually has just a great wealth of information, and that's a great system to have data in and use and pull from. So yeah, great question.
All right, we have another question. Is this an on-premises or a SaaS offering?
That's a great question as well. So ArcGIS has ArcGIS Enterprise, which is an on-prem solution that many of these solutions can be deployed through. For the Indoors tool specifically, we have both Indoors Enterprise and Indoors Online using ArcGIS Online. So most, if not all of these that you saw today, can be deployed either on-prem or through ArcGIS Online, a SaaS-based model.
All right. Looks like our last question is ArcGIS Indoors for web apps an extra cost, or is it part of Enterprise?
ArcGIS Indoors comes with ArcGIS. The license, that might be a little confusing. It's an added cost. You would purchase ArcGIS Indoors, but the license of ArcGIS Indoors includes ArcGIS Enterprise in it. So it has ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Enterprise, as well as all the applications that you saw, and even some abilities to leverage real-time data. So ArcGIS Indoors is an additional cost. Please reach out. We're happy to answer those questions and talk about what it would look like to add to your organization. But it will be a separate enterprise that will run alongside existing enterprise systems. As we conclude here, yes. We're excited to offer this questionnaire to everyone on today's webinar. I have a QR code here in the next couple slides. If you just want to get your smartphone ready so you're able to scan it. This is something that you can refer to if you'd like, maybe print it out, look through it, or if you're part of one of those COVID task forces, you might find it very useful. It's a checklist of important things to consider to make your facility safe, productive, safe and productive in the world of COVID-19. So you see a few of the sections here are visualizations, right? Being able to build these and determine the effectiveness of like the placement of wellness stations or ingress and egress routing. We have analysis tools, geoprocessing tools to help with some of these things you see on the checklist. The ability to create updated plans that are shareable. Checklist specifically to facilities re-entry, and if you see here on the second page, we also have A preferred environment. So that question about SaaS or on-prem software development, preferred environments, security questions, onboarding questions, right? That are of course going to be asked, and also just ongoing support and questions from a vendor. So here is the QR code. And if you're on your work machine and you don't have your cell phone handy, there's a bit.ly there. Those are case sensitive, right? So it's bit.ly/36 capital T 0 lowercase y capital RP. You can type that in. It'll take you to a OneDrive folder where you can download that PDF and have it. You can print it out or just refer to it on your screen. We just wanted to make sure you had something like that available. And of course, if you have any questions, if you'd like to learn more, feel free to reach out to any of us, all three of us. Here's our emails on the screen. And just thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate it and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.